I just drove down to LA where I got to use Vision Pro, and I want to talk about that experience. I'm very excited about it. This video is sponsored by Surfshark. Let's get into it. Now, let's talk about what Vision Pro is. Now, Vision Pro is Apple's new headset, but this isn't a VR or AR headset. This is a spatial computer. What sets it apart from different VR and AR headset is you can change the mixture of how much of the real world you're letting in or blocking off. Now, what struck me immediately was how similar Vision Pro is to the iPad. You all know how much I love the iPad, and Vision Pro to me is a spatial iPad. And what I mean by that is, with an iPad, you're limited to the screen size. So I use the 12.9-inch iPad Pro here. So I'm limited to that screen size unless I plug it into like an external monitor, but even then, I'm still limited to that screen size. With Vision Pro, you're able to take your apps and make them as big as you want, as small as you want, and place them anywhere in the room. Think about it like using as many external monitors as you want in a given moment and being able to make them any size that you want. You're not limited by the physical screen size. So for example, let's say I'm working on a note document, a script, whatever. I'm working in my text editor. I could just be banging away. I could have that text editor huge right in front of me. But off to the side, I could have things or a calendar app or something like that I can just be referencing. So like, hey, I'm working on the script, but oh, hey, I have a meeting in 15 minutes with somebody. Like, you could just have that stuff off to the side, move it out of the way, just like you could with Windows on a Mac, but the difference being is now you're not limited to screen size. And for somebody like me with ADHD, I don't like to have a bunch of apps open in front of me because I find that to be very distracting. So I could have that text editor or my photo editing app or my video editing app, whatever, right in front of me and have my task manager off to the side out of my view. So I could turn my head and see it. I could bring it back over when I want it, but it's there. It's out of the way, but it's open. And it's not just, sitting right in front of me. And that is really cool. That is really exciting to me. So when I posted on Threads and Mastodon and Instagram that I got to do this, I asked for questions and I got a ton of questions about the fit and the weight. So let's talk about that for a second. So Vision Pro comes with two different headbands that work with it. So the first is the Solo Knit Band. This is the one that you see in most of the promo materials where it's just a single band that kind of goes around your head. Nothing going over the top. It's just like a single band and it's got like a really wide back to it. It's very comfy. This band has the Vision Pro rest on your nose quite a bit. Now, you may notice that I have a really small nose. It's kind of weirdly small for given how big I am. So this band didn't work for me. They gave me the dual loop band like right away. Like I tried the first one and it sunk too far down on my face because how small my nose is. So I got the dual loop band. And this is the one that's not in a ton of promo materials, but it has a back strap, but it also has an over the head strap as well. So this puts a lot of the weight on the top of your head. And when I say weight, it makes it sound like it's heavy. I've seen people talk about it and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so heavy, you're gonna feel it on your face. I didn't feel it on my face at all. I wore it for about, I want to say it was about 50 minutes that I got to wear it. And at no point did it feel heavy. Did I feel like I had something like just pulling on my face or anything like that? Especially with the dual loop band, it felt comfortable to wear for a long period of time. Now, that being said, an hour isn't that long, especially given if you plan on working in this thing. We'll have to wait for people to get review units and work with it for a couple of weeks in order to know, like, hey, is this something that you could actually comfortably wear for 3 or 4 hours a day in a row? But for about the 50 minutes or so that I was wearing it, didn't feel any neck strain, didn't feel anything like hurting my neck or pulling on it, or it was too heavy on my face. Didn't feel any of that at all. This video is sponsored by Surfshark. Surfshark is a VPN service that protects you and your data. So I've told this story before, but I think it's really important. I worked in the IT field for almost 9 years. One day I was at this job and we set up a fake coffee shop, open Wi-Fi network, a bunch of different computers, open browsers, things like that. And we wanted to see if we could snoop on their traffic. And it was scary how much data we were able to get. Now, if those computers were running Surfshark, their data would be completely encrypted from the device to its destination, protecting your privacy. Now, this isn't about, well, I have nothing to hide, so I have nothing to worry about kind of thing. Data is the new gold, and people are going to do tricky stuff to get a hold of it. One thing I really appreciate about Surfshark is they don't keep logs. VPN services that keep logs, they're defeating the purpose. Don't use those. They literally are doing nothing for you. Now with Surfshark, you're able to change your location of where the internet thinks your computer is. So we all know streaming services have different content in different countries. So if you're in America, you could check out what Canadian Netflix has, or UK Netflix has, or you can check out an F1 race on a different service. There's so many different things you can do with this while you're at home or if you're traveling. I really like Surfshark. In fact, I paid for it myself a couple of years ago. Get an exclusive Surfshark deal. Enter the promo code LOLLY to get up to additional 6 months for free at surfshark.deals/lolly. My thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Now, Vision Pro does have a cable coming out of it, and this goes to the battery pack. I actually think this was pretty smart of Apple to do. So the battery would be the most heavy piece of Vision Pro. And instead of like clipping it onto the back of the headset and actually having all of that weight being pulled down, it just comes down. Now, when I was sitting on a couch using Vision Pro, I just had the battery pack sitting next to me. At no point did I feel like the cable was pulling on Vision Pro or anything like that. It just was sitting next to me, doing its thing. I forgot it was there. Then when I would get up and walk around and interact with different AR objects or different things and just kind of move around, I would just put it in my back pocket. Now, I wear skinny jeans because I'm a 30-year-old hipster, I guess, but it fit perfectly in skinny jeans. Now, I know not everyone's pants have pockets and all that stuff, and that's just something you're going to have to think about. But for me and my skinny jeans, I was able to put the battery pack in the back pocket, didn't notice it, never felt like it was pulling on me or it was too short or any of that stuff. It didn't get caught on anything either. Now, putting on Vision Pro for the first time, the setup experience was really interesting. You basically look at dots and you click on them. Now, gestures are a big part of the way you use Vision Pro. And it's this gesture right here, just kind of pinching. This is essentially clicking on something in Vision Pro. And how you select it is you look at it. And it's so incredibly accurate. So basically, when setting it up, I looked at these dots and I just tapped. And it calibrated for me. And you did it 3 times for different light levels. The biggest thing for me to get used to with Vision Pro was actually scrolling and swiping. I was very aggressive, and it took me a second to kind of like recalibrate and realize you can be just gentle with it. But you just pinch and you move, pinch and scroll. And that's it. That's all you do. It feels incredibly natural. You can also pinch with 2 fingers and pull apart, and that way you can zoom in on something, and you could do that same thing but in reverse to zoom out. So you could zoom in on photos or web pages or whatever. Speaking of, one of the very first things I did in Vision Pro was open up the Photos app. Apple showed me a bunch of different photos, and I was able to zoom in on them, and to see the detail of them is amazing because Vision Pro, after all, is 2 4K screens put together. So this way you have a 4K screen for each eye, which will then equal up to an 8K screen. And just the amount of detail you can see, it's wild. I've tried other AR and VR glasses and headsets and all that stuff, but the clarity of Vision Pro is just, it's second to none. I don't know how they did it, but it is crystal clear. Even when you just have the headset on and the cameras are showing you the room around you and you're just kind of like in an AR mode and you're opening up apps, but you can still see like the room around me. I would still be able to see my keyboards and stuff like that. You're looking at that stuff through cameras, and it's incredibly clear. It feels like you're looking at that stuff with your own eyes, not through Vision Pro. Now, another kind of photo that they showed me were panoramas. So those photos, those long photos that people take. And they were just absolutely epic because you would open them up and they would surround you. And you would just look around and it would be like being in the environment. But what was really even cooler was spatial photos and videos. So this is their like realistic 3-dimensional photos and videos. So when you take a spatial photo, it has depth. You're able to, see like you're in the room. Same thing with spatial videos. It feels like you're in the room reliving those memories. It's not just a marketing line. I didn't get to see any spatial photos or videos that I've personally taken of like family or friends or anything like that, but I got to see some that Apple took, and you could feel the emotional connection to the people in the room. And it was wild. It's so hard to explain how, because there's no frame of reference for it. There's no other device like this on the market. It's incredibly hard to explain. I honestly think spatial photos and videos are going to be huge for people that want to relive really special moments. I could also see this becoming a big thing for like big event and wedding photographers and stuff that capture these big emotional days, and this being a way to like, hey, you can relive your wedding from like the audience perspective of watching it, and it feels like you're there. Now, what's interesting with Vision Pro is there are 2 buttons on it, which are very similar to the Apple Watch buttons. There's a button for capturing spatial photos and videos. I didn't get to capture any myself, but there is a digital crown on there. And the digital crown is kind of like the home button, but also the reality button. So the digital crown, you would press that to go home or to bring up the app launcher or the app library. I'm not entirely sure what Apple's calling it. There's a lot of terminology with this. But you can spin the digital crown, and this closes off your reality and puts you in a spatial environment. And they have a few different environments that you can pick from, but these are all like outdoor nature environments, and they are stunning. They're absolutely beautiful. You feel like you're there. They have environmental sounds like wind and stuff like that are playing, but it's very low, so it's not distracting. It just kind of helps you feel like you're there in the moment. Now, you absolutely don't have to use these, but the scenario that was kind of presented for why you would want to use these is, imagine you're on an airplane and there's a bunch of people stuff happening, stuff like that, and you just want to like block it off and focus on your work or watch a movie or something like that. You could just spin the digital crown and you could just block off reality and focus on the task at hand. Now, for somebody like me with ADHD, that would be huge. I get distracted by people all the time, whether it's people in my home or if I'm out and about or something like that. Though I'm not entirely sure I'd wear Vision Pro outside of the house. I'm just not quite there yet. But especially like if my girlfriend's over and she's doing work or something, or she's watching TV or something like that, and I need to finish something for work, I would absolutely just spin the digital crown, bring in those environments, and just kind of block off reality for a bit to get my work done. Now, there are a couple really cool tidbits. Siri is on Vision Pro. I just triggered it there. And there's like this really nice animation ball that shows up. It's just really, it's really cool. It's just right there. I also noticed there is a native shortcuts app. In Vision Pro, all of your apps live on a home screen, but there is a compatibility folder where like iPad apps that run on Vision Pro live, but Shortcuts was not in that compatibility folder. I didn't get to open it. I didn't get to play with it, unfortunately, but I did notice it's there, so hopefully we get more details on that soon. Now, I'm a big Formula One fan, and I got to open up an app that had a 3D model of Alfa Romeo's Formula One car. I got to walk around it, take wheels off of it, blow it up, and like actually kind of like sit inside of it and see the view. Man, those guys cannot see very much. The fact that they're driving 200 miles an hour, they can't see much at all. But it was really, really cool. Like, this is the kind of thing that like I could see being big with like Disney being like, hey, here's a bunch of models of Star Wars ships, and you could just blow them up and walk around the inside of them and stuff like that. Like that would be really cool. I think the big thing Vision Pro is being pitched at is a way to watch media, watch movies, watch TV shows. I got to see a 3D clip of the Super Mario Brothers movie, and it was amazing. The depth that you could see is wild. Now, I'm a grumpy film school dropout. I don't like 3D movies. I'm 2D movie for life, but this like scene that I got to see from the Super Mario Brothers movie was absolutely wild. The depth you could see, the colors were vibrant, it looked good, and when you're watching a movie, it dims reality around you. So you can turn on the environmental scenes and block out all reality and just watch movies on top of a mountain or something like that if you want. But if you're just watching a movie, it dims all the lights around you. This is why it's important when you order one of these, you scan your face and get the right light shield. But it dims everything around you and you're just focused on the movie in front of you. And what I found to be really impressive is on Vision Pro, there are 2 speakers on the side, and they're not very big, but they sound amazing, and you get that spatial audio that you've come to expect from like AirPods Max or AirPods Pro, and it sounds really good. It sounds like it's coming from the right spot, just like Dolby Atmos. But the coolest media thing that I got to do is the Disney Plus app is bringing their own environments in. You can sit in a Disney theater, you can sit on top of Avengers Tower, or you can sit on Tatooine inside Luke Skywalker's land speeder and watch a Star Wars movie. I got to watch the original Star Wars trailer sitting in the land speeder on Tatooine, and that was probably one of the coolest Star Wars experiences in my life. And I've seen Star Wars hundreds of times, and that's not a joke. Honestly, if I'm by myself, if my girlfriend isn't at my house or something like that, this is probably how I will watch movies. The experience of watching a movie like this, being able to blow the screen up massive, the quality, it's unmatched. The screens are OLED quality, so the black levels look amazing. Nothing looks washed out. The colors are vibrant, but they're not like overly saturated or something like that, like you would see in like a demo TV. Apple did give me kind of a preview of something they're working on called Apple Immersive Video. And this is really interesting. This is 180 degree 3D 8K video. So this is so hard to explain, but imagine just like looking at a screen and it having it wrapped around your whole peripheral vision. You can look up, down, left, right, and see more. They had shots of climbing mountains, going underwater, traveling to different places, and it felt like you were there. In fact, I have a huge fear of heights. I hate being up high. I like my feet firmly planted on the ground. And this actually triggered my fear of heights. It felt that realistic, which honestly, I wasn't even mad about. I was like, that is impressive that this can trigger my fear of heights. Now, one thing I did get to see that this is kind of new, they haven't really been showing any tech publications or YouTubers or any of those other people yet, is eyesight. Eyesight is the screen on the outside of Vision Pro. So when you're wearing Vision Pro and somebody walks into the room, even if you have the environment set up so that you're in like a full sort of VR mode and you have reality blocked out, you will see somebody kind of walk in to the scene, and what they will see is eyes. Your eyes specifically. There are cameras and sensors in Vision Pros tracking your eyes and showing the person that's looking at you what you're doing. So if you blink, it shows them that you're blinking. If you're making eye contact with them, it shows that you're making eye contact with them. It is incredibly impressive. Now, it does look a little animated, a little bit, but it's not like pre-rendered animations. These are live things happening. It's kind of, the best way to think about it is it's like you're looking at somebody wearing tinted ski goggles. That's the best way to think about it. And it's really, I don't know how they pulled it off, but it's really impressive. I'm 100% in the camp of the next big way we are going to interact with computers is spatially. We're going to have windows being able to move around. We're going to have, we're not going to be limited to screen sizes anymore. We're going to be able to use the rooms that we are in, the spaces that we are in order to work, watch movies, play games, whatever. Screen size is going to be a thing of the past, and that's just how we're going to be interacting with computers over the next 20 years. I know AI is a big thing people are pushing right now. I firmly believe AI is a tool. I don't think it's the way we're going to be interacting with computers and stuff like that. Spatial is how we're going to be interacting with our different computers. AI is going to be a tool, a part of that, but spatial is going to be the way that we're actually working with the devices. Now, Vision Pro is clearly step one of a large multi-step journey. Hardware will get smaller and cheaper, just as computers always have, and software will get improved. But this is clearly step one in a multi-step journey. And spatial computing is the core of that. And it just makes me really excited that you're going to be able to have a workspace that adapts to you. Meaning you can make it as small as you want. You can make these apps as big as you want. You can pin apps to certain places. You can have your big editing windows in front of you or move those off to the side and look something up on Safari or take a lunch break and watch a movie or something like that. It's so exciting. Now, obviously, you're going to need to pair hardware accessories like a keyboard or a trackpad or things like that if you're working on it for a long period of time. But I'm really excited that you can pair those hardware accessories to the Vision Pro, and that way you can really get the benefit of a physical and digital world mixed together. So that's it for this video. Let me know what you think about Vision Pro in the comments below. My thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already, and have a great day.